Okay, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find out if a firmware password stays after you erase the hard drive. I couldn't find anything online about it, so I figured I'd do a test. So as you see here, I'm setting up the firmware password. It's 1234, of course, really simple. I'm going to shut it off because it says to shut it off, and then I'll turn it back on. And when I turn it back on, here in just a second, you'll see that there's a padlock. And that's firmware password. I originally thought that it was a file vault, but no, it's a firmware password. They're similar, but they're not the same. So, here in just 1 second. There you go. There's the padlock, and this is if you want to try to boot into anything. So like you hold down Option or Command R, any of it, this will come up. So now you see here, I'm going to go into my external media, or my boot installer, and I'm just going to fast forward through that part here in just a second because I know you don't want to sit through just watching it load. So I'm going to let that load. And more loading, of course, because these things, they do take a minute to boot off of, unfortunately, especially with these older machines. So just a few more seconds and it will then show you. What I'm going to do here is now it's coming into the recovery media. I am going to erase it. When I say erase, I'm going to erase the hard drive because that's part of my experiment. And just give it a few seconds and you can see that I'm going to disk utility, and this actually has multiple volumes in this partition, and by clicking the container you can actually erase everything inside of it. It'll delete all the volumes inside of it, so it's actually kind of nice that way. As you see there, I just did that. So okay, and it erased it. Just gonna let that go for a few seconds. I'm gonna shut it down, or not shut it down, sorry. I'm gonna go on ahead and reinstall Catalina onto it. And as you see here, I'm just following the prompts. You hit continue, yada yada yada, and it will install it to the hard drive that you selected. So, and I also originally thought that padlock could have been from like APFS encrypted, but it isn't actually. It'll have something similar to it, but not the same. So now you see me just starting it up, showing you that it starts up. This is after I installed Catalina. I didn't want to put you guys through sitting there watching it. Thought it was kind of boring, so I showed you that it can start up. I'm going to shut it down. Now I'm going to boot and hit Option, and when you see me do that, you're going to see this padlock pop up right here. So that means that by me erasing the hard drive, it did not get rid of that firmware password. I'm going to show you how to get rid of it. What you have to do is you have to go into recovery, which I'll do here in just 1 second, which I think I actually did. I typed in the password. And I'm going to go in there, and you're going to see me in just a second, and I'll explain it to you. But I'll just wait till the video catches up in just a second. Again, with the loading time, it's really terrible. I hate the loading time on these things. Even with the newer computers, it's still really slow. I don't know why. I guess it's just the USB 2 and USB 3 standards aren't as fast as SSDs, so I mean it makes sense, I guess. But anyways, we're coming up here. It's about to boot. Okay, now we're booted into the recovery media, or recovery menu, whatever you want to call it, but it's off of the USB. Give it a second, and what I'm doing is I'm going up to Utilities, and I'm selecting Startup Security Utility. That is how you turn on and off your firmware password. So I went on ahead, typed in the password. If you don't know it, you're not going to be able to turn it off. But I typed it in, turned it off, now we're good to go. There you go. Thanks, guys.